Despite some problems we were having just a little bit ago, we are live, we are active, we are doing the thing. So, we have some leverage here in Portrait of Ruin to take action on, thanks to the efforts of our companions in the Dragon Pelago. So we have the True Vampire Killer, so we have that going for us. It's not technically the strongest weapon in the game, but it's got very good reach and good speed for the most part, so we'll probably be making use of that. Got better armor, the Mirror Cuirass, so we cannot be petrified. Our helmet hasn't changed, but we have the Samurai Leggings, which are a massive statistical increase compared to the winged boots we were using, as you can see there. 6 more defense, 4 more attack, 3 more strength, 3 more constitution. Not too bad. Some of the better boots in the game in terms of raw statistics. More importantly, we can actually switch characters now. We finally have the switch cube. We also, as you see there, have sliding, which doesn't particularly matter, but, you know, it's nice to have. It's kind of funny. We have this whole side of the relics, and we have one whole relic on the other side. Like, it's kind of funny to think about the fact that we don't actually have the ability to call our partner. So we can't actually use the Acrobat Cube. That's one funny thing. Well, technically I think we can use it because, yeah, while Charlotte's on screen casting the spell, we could use her as a platform then. But we have high jump, so none of that really matters anyway. The most important things we got are the fact that we actually have our Academy key, for one. And for two, we have the Stella's Locket, so we can go into those 2 portraits. First and foremost, I'm going to try to finish the Academy. The Academy may actually still be a bit of an issue in some regards. And actually, we are not as go mode as I thought I was, but I'm kind of banking on finding what I need to get to go mode from what I can access now. Because we can complete the Forgotten City as well, because that's the one that was locked behind Stella's Locket. And from that, we can access the Nest of Evil portrait, which is not actually Nest of Evil, but it'll lead to yet another portrait that's missing. It should be good enough to keep us busy for a bit. Ooh, Heaven's Sword. That's actually a somewhat tempting switch because it's a throwable sword. But we will utilize that for specific situations. In fact, there's an experiment with that weapon in particular that I would like to do after we're done in here. So I just had an idea, which may allow us to make more progress than I thought we could. There's, of course, no guarantee that this plan will work at all. But it is very upsetting that I was like, oh yeah, I'm probably in go mode now, thinking about what I have, and I am very much incorrect. Because I'm still not used to the whole idea of needing these boss keys. Because, see, we have 2 problems with getting through the Forest of Doom to get the City of Haze opened. And to get Argo's Plasma Beam. And that is, we don't have the push cube in order to... we have the push cube, rather. We don't have the strength glove still. I don't think. In order to cross over that bit. We'll double check that, because I could have swore I saw the check for that get sent out. But I didn't see it in my list. Yeah, as you can see, our monster friend here really hurts. This is the other reason why I wasn't 100% sold on getting through the academy. Is that lightning's really hard to dodge. The machine gun's not too bad. Lightning you can obviously, like, ceiling climb like I just did there to avoid, but that's, like, your main option for dealing with that, in my opinion. And then there's this move that he's about to do right now, where he just grabs hold of you and essentially fires a rocket right into you. I don't really know how that rocket hit me that he just fired, but it knocked me away from the lightning, so I can't complain too loud. The machine gun's the real problematic one, but you'll notice that the whip is actually stopping the bullets. So we're actually in a pretty good position for this fight. Far better than when I did my test seed and had to do this fight with, like, nothing to work with. Like, I still had the vampire killer, but I had, like, half the health that I have now and no access to any real amount of healing items to tank my way through this with. Like, if you're really on top of it, you can avoid everything he does, just like any other boss in this game. But he is arguably the closest to a health check out of the regular bosses. Just because if you are focusing on avoiding his attacks, one good hit from him might just spell your doom. But that is a portrait completed. We now have 2 portraits done. We also have access to this portrait, which we have the nest key, and I do believe this is the Nest of Evil door. Yep, this is Nest of Evil. Notice how this place is designed. This is essentially the equivalent of the arenas and things like that are usually post-game or end-game bonus content for these games. It is not a good choice on my part to have added this as part of my options, but I figured it'd be fun. Now, a lot of these rooms aren't going to be too bad. They're just going to be a lot of enemies. And since we're strong, thanks to having the true vampire killer, the rooms aren't going to be too bad. There's a couple specific spots that might get real upsetting. Thankfully, unlike some of the arenas, you can heal in here. I believe it's Circle of the Moon's arena. You either can't heal or you can't get MP back, or both. I forget exactly what the deal there is that makes that one way harder. There's Mothman. He's dead. There goes another Mothman. I'm specifically using Javelin because we do have a quest involving mastering Javelin that I figure I may as well get the check for, just in case while we're at it. I do have mastery speed increased, so we should be able to get it mastered pretty fast. It's also just a solid ability, it's just not the strongest for this stage of the game. Though you will notice that I had used it just a little bit ago to deflect a boulder. As it is a solid object, it can stop enemy projectiles that are destructible, which is very handy. It also sticks around for a second, so it's actually really good against things like the final guard over here, because it'll hit him twice. He takes only 1 from just about everything in the game, outside of, I believe it's specifically magic, actually. So Charlotte could do more here. Except I keep forgetting that I only have Toadmorph equipped, because I'm a silly man who is only using that to traverse the world. Nope, that's still only 1, never mind. She does have a lot more reach with her spells, but Jonathan's faster about dealing damage generally. In terms of just speed of regular attacks, that is. Charlotte's overall damage output, I believe, is generally higher? I don't really know. Go offhand. Especially in a seed like this, I end up spending a lot of my time with Jonathan just because of the fact that we couldn't even switch to Charlotte till now. Hi, Baylor. Yeah, from what I remember, there's a bunch of refights with bosses that you don't see in this game otherwise. And I say they're refights because they are fights against bosses from the other games. So for you as a player, they will more than likely be a refight. But for Jonathan and Charlotte, they're new. It's an interesting situation to think about. Yeah, as a fight, Baylor's not bad. He's generally pretty chill. Even if I just take the hits like you've seen there, he is only doing 33. You just need to make sure not to take a laser to the face. And you'll be basically good to go. He is a tanky boy, though, being a very late game boss. Oh, most accurately being a bonus boss. There he goes. Okay, I wasn't sure if Baylor was going to be a check or not. He is not. Do bear in mind that those doors are closing behind us, though. If you don't hit these warps, you are not able to go back. I think you can magical take it out, rather, but... that is an idea of only occasional benefit. We are going to go back and heal, though, at the very least. I arguably should go restock entirely. But considering the amount of foie gras I have, I'm not super concerned, and I would rather make fast progress in here. Since, as I mentioned, it's going to be a bit of a shorter stream because I have things I should do today, since we have some issues that I still need to solve after the power outage. Like the fact that our oven has an error code right now, but I'm waiting to not be the only one here when I end up working on that in case things go wrong. Safety in numbers and all that. These Buster Knights are silly. Oop. You can just knock that missile right back to them if you hit it from close enough to them. The angle was just bad on that one. There's also some enemies that are unique to this area. Like, I believe those flail guys are unique to Nest of Evil. Eyeball, not so unique. Cave Troll might be unique to here. I know it shows up in other areas in the other DS games. I just don't remember if he's only in here in Portrait. It blends together, if I'm honest. The Cave Troll being that orange guy who was jumping at me. Usually a real big threat when you run into him in Dawn of Sorrow, for example. Which is the only reason I know what that thing is off the top of my head. I remember him because he's a problem. These armored fleamen are an issue, of course, because they're just fleamen, but they're wearing armor, which make them take way more to deal with, allowing them to hop around and make a nuisance of themselves. Because you'll notice they were transparent for a little bit after their armor popped off. They are immune during that time, but I believe they can harm you. Got a golem here. I forget which golem this is. But it's got a flamethrower, it's got a punch, and I believe those are cannons on its hands that it can use. It also has the typical big guy kick. But it didn't get a chance to use it. And here's Gurgoth. Gurgoth's another one I remember, because I fought him a bunch in Dawn of Sorrow. Was it Dawn or was it Aria? I think it was Dawn. Fun fact, once upon a time, I used to try to speedrun Dawn and Aria of Sorrow. Dawn more than Aria, because Dawn is actually very quick to get through. And more than a few of my runs ended at Gurgoth, because trying to get through low level and fast can end real badly against Gurgoth in particular, as he hits really hard. And as you noticed, that jump attack in particular doesn't have much of a safe spot. Even if you duck in the corner, you're not always safe from it. He does more than just stomp around and do all this as well. There it is, there's the problem. He's got a death beam. And it reached me. The safe spot for that is not as clear as you might think. You have to be right up in there against his leg, which I forgot. I thought I had the spot locked in. So anybody with Deathlink on, that's on right now, just died. So that's a thing. Just like that AI bot that just got obliterated. Now we gotta go back through those rooms again. Remember, you only get a checkpoint every time you beat a boss on a set of rooms. You can treat this kind of like its own internal roguelite, almost, in that regard. Okay, fine. If we're gonna have to do it this way, we'll do it this way. Those swords are dangerous only because they make all their little friends spin, and then they become a threat. As long as you clear them before the swords get going, it's not really an issue. Unfortunately, we didn't get the melon that I had used to heal in this room that last time. So I'm down one heal, but that's okay. Yes, yes. Round and round we go. But now that I remember exactly where to sit to deal with the laser, we shouldn't have any further issues with Gurgoth. Now, technically, there is a specific way I'm supposed to kill Gurgoth because of a quest I have. So that's going to add a layer of complexity to dealing with Gurgoth. Because in theory, I should deal with him using the blank book, because that's the quest that I have. And that's my turn to get deathlinked in return by somebody. I tell you what, while somebody that's using deathlink is here, let's not finish the Nest of Evil right now. Because all that's gonna do is keep getting me killed. Or I'll get the other person killed. And nobody's gonna end up happy. So let's come back to that idea in a minute. You've at least seen how the Nest of Evil works now. Every single one of those floors has its own boss. Instead, our port of call is going to be over there in the bottom left corner. Because we just needed to have cleared 2 portraits to access that location down there. Supposedly. Oh yeah, I can also just get in here the normal way now. We still don't have the key for that one, though, I don't think. Or did I get that one too? Let me check. No, we have Nest Key, Academy Key, Street Key, Burnt Key, Cavern Key, and Forgotten Key. All the way back here at the beginning of the game. All the way back. Gotta go back in time. Down here under the drawbridge at the very beginning. Ta-da! There's a hole here now. Because as I mentioned before, this is where normally you'd go to the Nest of Evil. This is what you would do, like, right before going and facing Dracula. At least, I think it's between Broner and Dracula that this opens normally. It's either before Broner or before Dracula. Can never remember which. Because I only did the whole go up to Dracula thing once. Because I believe technically you get game completion at Broner for one ending. You can even technically count the game as done if you end up getting the bad ending from defeating Bronner's quote-unquote daughters. Yeah, welcome to Burnt Paradise, where everything is awful. This is, like, the worst first painting in the game. As it is very much like Nation of Fools, except worse. Got stronger enemies, a lot more things that'll poison you, and traps everywhere. Meanwhile, it still has the same loop around ad infinitum around itself design that Nation of Fools has. It's genuinely not, like, hard, it's just annoying. The thing that's going to be good for us is it's also typically pretty rife with checks. So we should hopefully find some good stuff for everybody else, and possibly even for ourselves in here. This is actually a time where sliding is going to be useful, because I can actually bypass the blades that way. I did that just to make sure that there wasn't anything over here on this side. I genuinely couldn't remember if there was anything hidden on the floor in there. That's the place where I kept getting stuck before, by the way, when I mentioned that there's a spot where you can get stuck if you can't slide. It's in those little cubby holes, both here and in Nation of Fools. Both of them have that, and if you get knocked back just wrong without having sliding, which you won't end up having that situation unless you're playing this randomized like I am, you can just end up having to magical take it out. Because you might say, oh, just use Toad Morph. If you're in the wrong spot, Charlotte can't actually spawn in properly to cast Toad Morph either, if you're far enough in. Otherwise, you can turn to face inside the hole, and yes, Charlotte can turn you into a toad and get you out of there. That is your only move in that scenario, though. I guess Owl Morph probably would work too, because the owl is smaller. I don't actually know if it would work or not. That's a check, but it won't be a particularly important one. We'll grab it anyway, because, you know, there's no real reason for us not to. And just because it's not a progressive check doesn't mean it's not useful. That is energy for Ape Escape. That is, not helpful. Like, if it was a blue class check or something like that for either of my games, it could have actually been somewhat useful. 10 Deku Nuts to Ocarina of Time. This is exactly what I mean about these checks potentially being useful, but probably not. Why am I not surprised? Because it's Burnt Paradise. Wax Incense might actually be important. Depends on the degree of difficulty Terra has set up for their black-white game. I believe those incenses are good for training? If they're what I think they are. But again, that probably won't matter unless they've got some really wild settings. Though, honestly, the seed for this Dragon Pelago has been a ride for, like, everybody involved. There's been so much stuff that has appeared in, like, backwards order that's been really funny, but also really annoying for everyone. Welcome to the Upside Down section of Burnt Paradise, where everything is just as confusing, but now that it's upside down. Did turn audio back on, right? Yes, okay. That would have, in fact, petrified me if I let it, and I don't want that to happen. Thankfully, since we have poison protection, this place is nowhere near as bad as it usually is. Bottom of the well keyring for Draco's Ocarina of Time. That might actually matter. Depends on if there's anything good in bottom of the well in his world, which... shrug, could go either way. We're also protected from petrification, so those gold Medusa heads, if they'd hit me, wouldn't be able to do a damn thing. There's one particular thing I'm scared of right now, and I'm not gonna say it out loud because I don't want it to happen. There's the other thing I was afraid of, which was forgetting a room. Gotta go back. Because this place has so many little rooms, and you have to go through so many hoops to get to each individual room in here. Which, under ordinary circumstances, wouldn't matter. But since we're playing this as part of an archipelago, it matters a lot more to get every single room. And it doesn't actually matter that I went back for this, but it might be something. Uh-huh. It was grass for Luigi's Mansion. Me forgetting this room was actually in my own best interest. Oh well, too late. And now I'm gonna have a hard time getting out of here. It's a good thing those Medusa heads do no damage. Otherwise that would have been far more irritating. And the whole time this place is gonna be making fun of you with the circus music. Just another check in there. And ordinarily this is the third Bronner portrait you do? I want to say. His Nation of Fools is usually the third one you do in the regular portraits, I think. Is it Forest of Doom that's third, or was Forest of Doom fourth? I mean, I guess technically you could do them in whatever order for the most part. Which is what makes this kind of easy to randomize. Because you don't have to do them in a specific pattern to make things work. The only time you end up kind of locked in is the order for the Bronner portraits matters more because you can only do the outer two first before you gain access to the inner two. Dark Orb for Dark Souls, that's at least a good spell. Don't know if it's something within what Draco's using, but it's a decent spell. It's one I didn't end up using when I showed you all the game, but that doesn't mean it's not a good spell, it just means I didn't use it. Rogue. Soul of a Proud Knight for Dark Souls as well. More than likely a much more useful thing, since that's just free souls. I similarly don't know what his level situation looks like right now, so souls might be important. There's the boss door right there, which we do have the key for. Now, Legion was the boss in the middle before, but you may have caught on to the fact that for some reason the boss is down here in the bottom middle this time, making this place actually a little bit easier to clear in one trip than Nation of Fools, because you can just go and do a full circle. As you come down here on either the left or the right, whichever you prefer, kill the boss at the bottom, and then finish the circle around. How am I looking? I'm gonna go ahead and warp out first, and then come back in and fight the boss, though. I want to restock before I fight that. It's not a terrible boss to fight. I have no money. I forgot that one of the last things I did was set all my money on fire in order to do that quest. Thankfully, we have jet black whips to sell, which are worth a lot. Have an extra heaven sword that I can sell. Extra claymore, but that's worth nothing. Zweihender's worth something. I would just sell out of all of this stuff, but Collector Instinct. Healing Mail's worth a lot. To think that just drops from Fleamen. So I could just have, like, infinity money at any time if I just sat there and grinded Fleamen for, like, 20 minutes or so, with decent luck. Fill my pockets with potions. Fill up on foie gras. Grab powdered milk. We still don't even have, like, Castle Map 2 or anything. Since we've technically only beaten 2 portraits, I don't think we've actually triggered the other parts of the shop to trigger.
You're back.
Oh yeah, Intelligence 50. There you go, an MP max up for us. Hooray. Now back out there, back to Burnt Paradise to go whoop the boss. We actually are, like, uniquely we have a unique advantage against this specific boss as well, actually, with the equipment we currently have. So I didn't need to restock before this fight, I'll be very honest about that. I just did that so I didn't have to think to do it afterwards. Because it'll make my life much simpler if I don't have to remember to do that. Now, am I going to take damage in this fight? Absolutely. Am I going to take enough that it would have taken all of the items I had on hand? Probably not. I would have to do this fight really badly. Which, considering the way I do these fights, not impossible. Because I am a very lazy fighter in these games, as you probably have noticed. Let's go ahead and put Cross back in my hands. Won't worry about trying to get mastered for the Javelin here. It's a snake, oh, it's a snake, oh, it's not a snake, it's a Medusa. So she has a big snake hand that she tries to bite you with. And she has Medusa head swarms she can send, which would be a real big problem if we weren't immune to Petrify. That's a neat trick you tried to do. It's a shame I'm immune to Petrify. Yeah, she hits the whole screen with that. Unless I believe you have to be turned around when the flash happens to not be petrified. It also hurts like a motherfucker. Yeah, generally the big snake bite's like the main danger other than the Petrify. The snake hand stings, but generally you can avoid that without it being too major an ordeal. And she's dead. She has some of the lower health of the second batch of bosses as well, as the thing. And that makes her not that big a threat. And there you go. The sad thing is, bosses themselves aren't checks in my setup here, and I think they aren't at all. But they are usually guarding checks. Like that was some fire bombs, again, for Dark Souls. Which those may actually come in handy depending on, again, where Draco is and what he's rocking. I have not actually looked at what his Dark Souls playthrough looks like right now. I've not actually had the time or drive to go check what everybody else in the archipelago is specifically doing. Like, I know what games they're playing, but I have not actually looked at where their game states and such are. Other than what they've been saying in the group message. Because it's been a busy June. Not as busy as it was supposed to be, but definitely still a busy month. Considering, you know, actually had some commissions this month to do. Which, it's not a commission, but I do have something fun cooking, art-wise, that you will all get to see soon, TM. I won't reveal exactly the nature of what it is right now, because it'll be more fun as a surprise. Though I will say, its greatest asset's going to be as an advertising thing. So it may or may not be actually exciting to anybody, other than me. But I think it'll be fun. Then again, if I didn't think it would be fun, I wouldn't be making it. So, you know, there's that, I guess. Optimize logistics for Marines for StarCraft 2. That's useful, I would presume. I don't know if that makes them cheaper, makes them faster to produce, or what. Logistics makes me think they would be just, like, more efficient in terms of making in some way. I was never that much of a Terran player when I played any of the StarCrafts, so their upgrades in particular I especially don't know. Not that I would know most of them off the top of my head anyway. Because I played a lot of Protoss, and I wouldn't be able to tell you what most of the Protoss upgrades do off the name. Hey there, Dream, how you doing? I missed my exit. There was, in fact, a door in that room. Oh, funny story about the power outage, by the way. It's a very short story. I saw a text from my power company saying there's an outage in my area. So I'm like, huh, that's weird. My power's still on. Guess I'll find out about that in a minute or two. And no sooner did I put my plate from dinner down and get those words out, does my power go out. Understandable there, Dream. But I appreciate you popping in. I just found it incredible timing, all things considered, that I'm like, oh, I guess it's not my problem. And despite the fact that they're telling me there's an outage around here. And then suddenly, gone. It was thankfully only out for like an hour, so it wasn't too bad. But that's also the same reason I'll end up cutting today short a little bit, because I want to deal with the error code the oven's giving and all of that. Sounds good, sounds good. I don't think any of it's gonna be a major ordeal. That's a trap. That's a shame. I was excited for a second there, because it's like, ooh, progressive item. Trap. Sad. I do like that they actually mark them with the same icon, so you actually get fooled by them. Because for obvious reasons, if they were traps, I probably wouldn't go for all of them. Sometimes I would because it's funny, but that's neither here nor there. There you know. Who's that? That's that one. Okay, they make sense to be playing that. I could only see the fact that they were playing the new Star Fox on my little side screen there. I was like, wait, who's doing that? Just what? Where was I? Huh? Curious? Because, of course, you know, I'm only looking to that screen so much today because I'm looking at the tracker. Or so I can see what's getting sent. So that I can keep an eye out for anything big for tactics and such, which I did make some good headway in Final Fantasy Tactics while y'all weren't there to see it. And we did get a new job for that game. We do have Dancer now. So I debated doing more checks for that today, but I don't think it'll do enough to be worth it right now. Which is why we're just doing focus on this and only this. If we had had no interruptions or complications... Well, thank you for the 5 gifted. That brings us a lot closer to Super Metroid, which the time on that sub-goal is ending in 5 days. So do bear that in mind. If you want to see the full playthrough of Super Metroid happen, you do need to add 5 more to that before the end of this month. That is no pressure at all or anything, because the playthrough may happen at some point anyway. It would just actively encourage me to make that happen sooner, is the main bit. And actually finishing Super Metroid would open us up to a new set of randomizers, of which there are a lot of options for Super Metroid. But I'd have to be careful with that one, considering a lot of them are designed to need tricks. So there is something to keep in mind with that as well. Okay, I don't think I can get up into that corner on top of that building. I think that's not a thing. He says, knowing full well that he may eat those words later. But on the bright side, that guarantees us making a fairly nice payout next month, so that's much appreciated. And what this also means is, since that secures a better payout, I will also be picking up a little bit more than I had originally intended to from the summer sale. Because I had my eye on a couple things that were at a good price, but I was holding off a little bit. Which specifically, the things that were guaranteed is I'm picking up something for the collab we're going to be doing tomorrow, which will be revealed later. Later being that game will specifically be revealed tomorrow. But we'll be playing more with Bug, Mush, and Melon tomorrow. And the main other thing is I'm actually going to be going ahead and pulling the trigger on picking up Rogue Point finally, because it's seen some more activity as far as updates and such go. So that's a whole thing. One sec. Needed to write myself a note, otherwise I was gonna forget something. Not related to what we were just talking about. It just clicked in my brain as I said at that, so I wanted to get that noted before it disappeared again. Nothing y'all need to worry about though. Hiccup, stop it! Okay, Burnt Paradise is done now. There's nothing left in there. So let's go hit up Forgotten City. Clean that up as much as we can. Because we should be able to do the whole place, including the boss. From there is when we're gonna have a problem. Oh. That's the wrong portrait. It's the one up and right from here is the one I need to be going to. Yeah, because we weren't allowed to go into this specific portrait until we had Stella's locket. For those who missed that bit before. Whatever portrait's in that specific location needs Stella's locket. It doesn't actually have any impact, it's just locked by it because I think it's just the game's own logic stops you from going there. Because it reads it as that portrait in that position, which ordinarily I believe would require it. Yeah, we got dead people on wheels and mummies. Then more mummies and more dead people on wheels. And more demons, including fire demons. Isn't that lovely? Could you come down here? Thank you. They once again go into the void in pieces. And then suddenly sandworm. Level 2 hype train concluded. Once again, thank you for the support. Ah! As a sandworm once again vomits on me. And feel free to show off whatever hype emotes you end up getting, if you so choose. There we go. I was like, usually this thing's dead by now. Why is this still alive? Before we go down that hole, let's go this way. Like the item that's over here, because it may very well be something important. Remember, every check could matter. Dark Hammer ammo boost to Shadow the Hedgehog. Not as important. As it turns out, that may not in fact matter at all. We've recently learned what Terra actually needs in Shadow the Hedgehog, and it's a bunch of like bombs and such that are apparently the progress item in that game. Yeah, welcome to the evil version of the pyramid, which is populated by cat girls and demons, for the most part. Oh yeah, and the armored fleamen, I forgot they were in here too. And the ghosts, but the ghosts are kind of like everywhere. Maybe it's here that has Ghosts of the Desert, and I was just thinking it was Sandy Grave. Maybe. So, didn't do the Ghosts of the Desert quest yet. So I think that quest doesn't give us anything good in this reality. Yeah, it's just guided pellets, so it doesn't matter anyway. I think there's only like one other quest that actually matters that we haven't done. Yeah, because we want this search key for Mori, most likely. And we might want Kojiro for Winter. I think those are the only things in here that matter, yeah. Everything else is just kind of nice to have. And mostly just in our own world. So it's not too big a deal. As you can see, there's the lamp just like in the other version of this place, so you have to do that bit again. But you're coming in from the other angle, so it's actually a little bit more of a problem. Because you also notice it's blocked off, so you can't actually access it from the left side without going all the way down and around. Which is also why I'm going down here first. Because it doesn't actually loop all the way around this time. Fire extinguisher for Overcooked. So you're telling me Astral couldn't put out fires in Overcooked until now? That's upsetting. There's a lot of things in Overcooked that are apparently locked until you find them in Archipelago. It's wild. No knife, no throwing, no dashing, no anything. It's a nightmare. Oh, Thunderbolt. That's useful. That'll make Terra's life easier, assuming Terra has an electric type or anybody that can use it. Because Thunderbolt's just a good move. Let's touch the save point, not because I'm scared of dying here, but because I'm scared of getting death-linked in here. That's highly likely. Actually, I don't know if anybody is still in that's using Deathlink. Because I know Winter was playing Clair Obscure and had Deathlink on. That's how we died earlier. That's also the one I got killed earlier because of my own death. But I didn't see a logout pop up, so I don't know if Winter's still playing or not. That would be the big fear right now, though. More Deku Nuts. My worlds have had so many Deku Nuts in them. It's rather upsetting, all things considered. That shop expansion we found for Trading Card Sim, though, might be useful. That's like the most useful thing I can think of off the top of my head out of what we found in terms of progression items. And that's purely on an assumption. I don't even know if that's that useful. I don't know what an Alchemist shop looks like right now. I would assume if his shop's big enough, it probably doesn't matter. I would assume you wouldn't need all the shop expansions. They would just be good to have. Okay, that's just a one-room area, so let's check this. Okay, it's a save room. Just good to have. It's interesting how the amount of save rooms carries over in this version of this area. Goodies? Prizes? Energy again. God damn it. Get flab it. Rise up, and daggum energy. I could use plenty of energy, but not that energy. So I'll be honest, with the annoying things that have happened earlier today on top of the power outage and everything, today's already been one of those days, so I could certainly use an energy boost. But it be what it be. We make everything work. I think, doesn't this room have a funny... Is this the room where the funny happens? Nope. Yes, there you are. Goodbye. She chases you around because she wants to actually make the teehee I am totally just a lady in a dress bit work. But if you just avoid her, she never actually transforms unless you hit her. It's kind of funny. Hold her. Oh, right. This one's the one that's a pain to squeeze through. Toad. You have to have Toad form pretty much to get through this one. Unlike the one in the other version of this place. And it was just for a relic vase, which is just money in Pokemon, I'm pretty sure. I think that's one of the things that sells to a Maniac. It's still kind of screwbally that they call the people that are interested in buying those things Maniacs. Huge rupee for Argo. Argo getting paid. Now, if only that mattered, he probably threw it on the ground, just like we've thrown so much money on the ground in those games. Because wallet limitations. Ow. I'm being too impatient with these boulders. I am going to have a problem. Yeah, the boss of this one's also not too bad. It's kind of funny that we're gonna be fighting this one before we even see the boss of the regular version of this place. But such is the way of the boss keys. Hey, big guy, we're doing this bit again. Anyway, just knock his head off. As you can see, with the true vampire killer, most things aren't too much of a threat anymore. So a lot of this is just going through the motions, but I figured there's enough ground I'll be covering and the checks could end up being interesting that it was worth letting y'all in to see this. And I wanted to make sure I at least got something out today, considering the near delay we had and then the shortening. It all kind of ends up working out reasonably, if not well. There's a warp, there's a save. Oh, and the archipelago I mentioned that I might be joining, I am not joining. I did not get enough information back on that as to what their plan was. I did manage to find out that their plan was absolutely that it was going to be finished this weekend, but it also was going to conflict with another thing I was doing, specifically what I said I was doing tomorrow. So I didn't see it working out too well. But that did give me a line on somebody else that might be interested in doing archipelagos in the future, so still useful. Whether they end up wanting to follow through on that after this one, that will remain to be seen. And I've got a contact for another potential long project that may or may not end up involving a bunch of people. Soon, TM. My part of that's going to primarily involve me testing to see whether it'll work on my setup well enough. Hey, we have Lancer for tactics now. Lancer is admittedly not one of the ones I was concerned about getting, but Lancer's not bad to have. That'll at least give me something other than Samurais to have as my entire front line. So that's still useful. Not enough, though, for me to change my plans and actually do anything with tactics stream-wise today. Another My for Cassius, which I believe those are something that a set number of those unlocks a thing for him in Link Between Worlds, and then repeat process with ever-increasing amounts of them, basically, is the bit for that. He told me about that when we did the small-scale archipelago, and that was long enough ago that I don't remember. Because that was a full archipelago ago. Like, that was before the last Dragon Pelago. That's a nice trap for Ocarina of Time, the classic. We actually have not seen that many ice traps, honestly. But it's because there's so many other traps now That it's not just ice traps. And you know, certain ice trap app attracting people are not in this group this time as well, which probably reduces the amount of ice traps. That was a good time. Bet you thought they had me. There's the boss door right there. We'll deal with that in a second. Out of these three, this one is... Or rather, out of these three, the monster is the strongest, I would say. This one does have its dangers. I would say this one's more dangerous than the Medusa overall. He's just a mummy. He's just a mummy. But he's got homing bandages that hurt like a motherfucker, for one. He can bandage teleport like that. Sounds good, Dream. You have a good night. Sleep well. And here comes his actually dangerous maneuver. Or other than the bandages. He throws the background tiles at you. And they hurt about as much as the bandage does. I actually cheesed this fight when I was doing my test seed because I would just use my combo moves that we currently cannot actually use, ironically enough, to defeat him. The ads are running, but I'm not going to worry too much about that right now. Yeah, see, notice how the mana bar isn't glowing? That tells you that I cannot use the Union Arts at all. Because I do not have the item that lets me do that. Which is kind of funny in and of itself. That's something that's ordinarily a really basic, simple thing to have, is yet another one of those we don't have. There we go. But as you can see, he's not that big a deal, and I wasted that caviar healing there. But had no way of knowing whether I was going to need it or not. So that's another area cleared. Back here's another warp. And... Healing Tint Shard for Letriel's Player Obscure, because we have two people playing Expedition 33 in here. Which can always get a little bit weird between the two of them. Yeah, I didn't want to pause mid-boss fight for the ad there, and honestly, since we're only going a short time, probably behooves me to just boogie anyway. Ravenous Appetite for Nidus Worms. That might be something. Sunglasses. I don't need sunglasses, I need thick glasses, damn you. That's how we triggered that other quest. Now that's this whole place cleaned out. So I think those couple places we didn't see don't actually have anything in them. I'm pretty sure those are just like, I just didn't go all the way up into the corner of the room type deals, like this one. So we can go ahead and get out of here. All things considered, us not being allowed to go in here until now did not matter. Because if we go back through the checks we got in here, the Healing Tint Shard probably matters a little bit. Ravenous Appetite might be useful. The Full Heal doesn't matter. Relic Vase doesn't matter. All those things don't matter. Thunderbolt might matter. Fire Extinguisher does matter, more than likely. Yeah, and everything before that was Burnt Paradise, so yeah, this place was great. That's just how those checks go sometimes. Oh hey, there's my weight cube. Move from Dispatcher over in Grim Dawn. don't see Strength Glove, but maybe Strength Glove's not a real item? So I'm gonna go check to see if I can actually get into that one spot that was a problem. Because if I can, then we're in a good position. If I cannot, that still leads to other problems. Actually, it'll probably be faster to test it with the train. Because I can get to the train faster than I can get to the other thing. And I presume they both work the same way. I don't actually know the answer to that question. If I manage to stop the train, we know that we're stronger. Nope, still not working. That might not mean that I can't do the Forest of Doom one, though. I might be forgetting what that needs. In fact, let me check. Yeah, you must use the power granted by the Strength Glove to stop the train. Did I read wrong that I have the Strength Glove? Let me double check to make sure I'm not tripping, and I did actually see that check get gotten as well then. So I clearly might be wrong here. It was when I was looking through the hint list, I could have swore I saw a check mark next to it. Even though it didn't make sense that there was a check mark there, I was like, oh, maybe something happened there. Maybe it worked anyway. But what I'm betting happened is because some of these are really weirdly spaced, I'm betting I just had my eyes blur and I looked at the wrong check mark. There's my academy key, which was gotten. There's been a lot more hints since I looked at this before, so it's taking me a minute to find it. I didn't really want to like sort this or anything because it starts lagging real hard when you do that. When there's a lot of things. Okay, no. That right, it wasn't them that had it, it was Winter that had it, right. And we know what the problem with Winter getting it was, so yeah, we still don't have our Strength Glove then. Yeah, this was even less in go mode than I thought, but that's okay. That's absolutely fine. We still have things left to do. Think. Or do we? Trying to think now. Because with the weight cube, we can get through City of Haze. This was actually something I was worried about. Was I had the change cube, but I didn't have the weight cube. The weight cube is necessary to make sure that whoever you put on the button for the drill for City of Haze stays there. And doesn't just sit there and warp to you every time you walk over to the switch you need to flip. Move the thing. That's a problem. Because I also know Winter doesn't have what he needs to get me my Strength Glove. So even though he's playing tonight, we're probably not getting that. I had it wrong, and that's a problem. Oh, that might be useful. A bunch of shop keys. Keys for winter. Trying to think now, though. Well, there's one thing I can do. There might be a useful check in there. If we hop up here, I can actually activate something now. Is it over here or was it down below? No, this is a boss door. Must be down here. Where do you have that? Actually, is it here or is it past the boss door? Which would mean that that gear doesn't even matter anyway. Yeah, this is the other thing that needs Strength Glove. That's not what I was thinking of. But as you can see, that thing does not matter at all. Yeah, I think I need to go through that boss door to get to the thing I was going to check. Which, having the gear for right past that door is also kind of weird, then. If I don't have this boss key. Yeah, tower base key. I don't have that. Huh. Let's see if there's a gear needed on the other side, too. I genuinely don't remember this hallway, because this hallway is largely irrelevant normally. But that hidden room at the top of it may very well have something somebody wants, is the main reason I'm even concerning myself with this. Since I can't do the other things that people want. No, this was that wall. Okay. Pits. So I can't do what would... I can't do the death fight, which is up at the top of the tower. Can't fight Dracula. Unless my portrait condition was low enough that I can fight Dracula now, but I don't think it was. I guess I could check, just for shits and giggles. And if I beat Dracula, then none else of this matters. Because the thing is, strength-wise, we are in go mode. Strength-wise, we could probably take out Dracula. It's just getting him to open his goddamn door and let us in is the problem. He's a coward and won't open the door. I'm going to shake you down, Dracula. Nope, door still doesn't open, so we have not fulfilled the condition. Because I think I set my portraits needed to random. I don't remember what it is. I either set it to random or to 8. And I don't remember which is true. Probably not. But hello, Natra. Considering Natra is, to my knowledge, not a number, I do not think it was Natra. Why did I warp over here? That's a boss room. I already established that. I'm trying to think. I guess it's back to Nest of Evil for us, because we can still do things there. And since I haven't gotten Death Linked in a bit, I don't think I'm in danger of that right now. He says, seeing right in front of him that the other Deathlink player is still actively playing. Quite possibly, yes. Well, if you left and didn't come back. Because I would assume if you came back, your streak would still be safe. Oh yeah, I can do the Browner fight. I forgot. I didn't need this one to access his fight. I only needed 3. Yeah, you know what? Let's go beat up Browner. Yeah, don't worry. They weren't the ones that came here. I'm gonna fight you now. This whole thing is painting with blood. And you'll notice you can remove the paint that he's put on the room, which is very important to being able to avoid some of his attacks. Like flying around in his portrait. Wait a minute. I'm forgetting something. I think there's a bad end that happens here if I don't do this right. Oh well, we're about to find out. If I kill him and I lose, well, that reminds me of the answer. This is why this can be a problem sometimes, is you get pinned in a corner by the paint. And he summons all kinds of nasty things. We're also cursed, so I don't have any mana anymore. That's fine. I've not really been using my mana that much. Yeah, I know. You took blood, now you summon things. Oh no. Anyway, I'm just gonna kill all the things you're summoning and then keep beating you up. You're a bigger nerd than Dracula, you know that? Yeah, a little bit there, Tara, but how you doing? There we go. You lose. Yeah, you know. Justice doesn't have to be on either side, really. And there's Death showing up to do his job. Ta-da! Now Dracula comes back. No, no. This is how you're ordinarily meant to go to the next part, but, it be what it be. Nice. The Hotline Miami games are really interesting. They're very hard, though, sometimes. Yeah, because we still haven't fulfilled our conditions, I can't actually go fight Dracula, but, you know, we've gotten that far, at least. Bird monster picks up your sister on her birthday. Oh, that's Wind Waker. I had to think for a second because, like, there's a few things that could be, but the sunken land combined with the bird on the birthday because of a princess kind of lines up. To be fair, I wouldn't have remembered the difference, so it was kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other there. I remembered a birthday was involved. I couldn't remember whose birthday it was. Ciela Titiana, thank you for the raid. What were you up to? Hopefully you were having a grand time with whatever it was. And as always, if any of y'all need to raid and run, please make sure to do so. We're just working our way through what checks I can get in this randomized form of Portrait of Ruin here. Specifically the Nest of Evil, which is arguably the hardest part of the game, other than Dracula himself. So we're going to be having a little bit of a time here today. But do tell, what were you up to, and hopefully you are doing well. And do let me know if I pronounced your name correctly. I know that could go a few ways, so I just kind of guessed as best I could there. Meanwhile, we'll scramble back through the parts of the Nest of Evil we got through before Deathlink claimed me earlier. Ah, nice. Always good to hear that people are making art. And I will keep that in mind, Lucy. There we go. There's one more in this room, and I gotta go around the bend and work my way down again. Now, is that a commission or a gift that you were working on? Well, gift or just, you know, fun thing. They kind of go hand in hand a bit, but people will sometimes take gift art to be a bit of a different thing. Ah, fair, fair. I've just gotten so used to most everybody who does art, even on the side, taking commissions because everybody needs money these days. You know how that is. There we go. Okay, Gargoth, let's do this again. Ideally without me getting blasted into the next century this time, shall we? Go ahead and put the javelins away and actually go for the Bible. The Bible will be good for this fight, since it'll just spin around. Oh, you're doing the suction move that I forgot about. Do not wish for the suck, please. Especially not from something that looks like this. Exactly. I need to remember that I can just hit him in the legs, so I'm a bit safer. Aside from the jump that is just undodgeable. Right up against his foot so he can't laser me. Look how close that gets, even with me right up against the foot. It's real bad. Like, the most dangerous thing here. There we go, he's dead. Unfortunately, I did not use the blank book, unless I can still use it. Nope, I think that quest is permanently screwed then, because I didn't hear the noise. Yeah, see, use the blank book to put Gargoth out of his misery. I'm pretty sure that's Gargoth I just killed. I'm 90% sure that's correct. Yep, that's Gargoth. Well, it's a good thing that quest didn't have anything important behind it. Yeah, you have to get the killing blow with the blank book for that quest to count, I do believe. But if we go look, that quest just has some dark gauge for Shadow the Hedgehog, which does not matter. Is for those unfamiliar, this is all part of an archipelago, which is a bunch of connected randomizers that all rely on each other to actually get what they need. Do not have my usual explain text activated today because there's been a whole thing today. Hey, with a power outage and all that other stuff. So I'm not fully, like, on target today. There we go. Westopolis Soldier for Shadow the Hedgehog. I don't think that one in particular mattered. That was not on the list of what Terra told us was going to be a thing that they needed to make progress, but I'm assuming it will end up being one. Because a lot of the soldiers and things are what matter in the stage that Terra's dealing with right now. So I presume that those are for the stage afterwards. This is me just trying to backfill what I'm assuming the logic is for that game, though, so I cannot guarantee that that's correct. Oh, right. You have time stop. I do not have time stop, so I can't counter that. No, I'm immune. Never mind, we're fine. Because that's his whole gimmick, is stopping time and then attacking, you know? He's nowhere near as dangerous without it. And there is a time stop spell in this game, but maybe it doesn't, maybe it's not necessary for this fight. Because I'm used to having to have the actual time stop ability in Dawn of Sorrow to not be stopped by him. Wait, no, he's the one who gives you it, though. I don't remember. Yeah, it's a pretty common trick, honestly. Even with the knife throwing. There we go. He's dead. Like I said, not really a problem. He's just kind of a nuisance because he litters everywhere and he stops time over and over again. But we are halfway through the Nest of Evil now. Well, Winter, thank you for the raid. How did your part of the Dragon Pelago go? Hopefully you were all having a grand time. As you might have gathered, we are doing our part of that big archipelago. Specifically, we're only doing Portrait of Ruin here today. I do also have Final Fantasy Tactics in the pool, but I do not have too much to do with that at the moment. Admittedly, don't have the most to do here, but I am doing an interesting bit, which is the Nest of Evil, which is this whole long arena string here. But of course, if any of y'all need to raid and run, please make sure to do so. Taking care of yourselves should be your first priority. I know it's fairly late for you by now, so do make sure to get some rest. Nicely done! Congratulations on the clear. I was thinking I was in go mode here, and then I realized I'm missing a few keys. These as well as that strength glove that's still at large. So I had convinced myself I'd gotten my strength glove, and then I got run over by a train and realized, nope, I do not in fact have strength. Because I needed to stop that train from running me over. Which is a wild sentence, but it's true. I'm gonna go ahead and pop back and resupply before we continue the Nest of Evil. I will stop the train. I don't think it worked. And now he's over there, over there, over there. Oh yeah, this is just the bit where Wind realizes Dracula's alive, except we still can't reach Dracula, so it's a whole thing. We do have a bunch of quests we can turn in, though. Undead Killer, HP up, and Sage Ring. Those were all for me, surprisingly. Yep, Dracula's alive, it's fine. I'll whoop him once he actually opens the door and stops being a coward. My condition for opening Dracula's boss door, I believe, is all of the paintings, which is why we're still kind of stalled for the moment. As those who know Portrait of Ruin may be questioning what I'm talking about with boss keys. Specific to this randomizer, there's a setting where keys can be made to lock boss doors away until they're found out in the multi-world. That was certainly a choice on my part to add that. But that's what we do with these. We make choices that may backfire. Now, admittedly, we are going to end up cutting today a little bit on the shorter side. In part because of when I'll run out of checks to do, and in part because due to a power outage we had earlier, I do have a thing I need to go fix. But I didn't want to delay my start because it would have made it not doable to actually start. So we will end up having a stop point within the next like hour or two. I do want to advise you all on that. But it'll still be a good time while we're here. Nest of Evil was up here. And in case nobody's noticed it yet, for those so inclined, I do have the items getting sent around in the bottom right corner there. And I'll be calling them out as I see them and with what bit I do know about each of those things. So you will ideally learn a fair bit about some of the games, at the very least, that are in action here. But my knowledge is variable. And since a couple follows came in, I do not call follows out, but I do want to note that I do have a reward for when I hit 950, which we are much closer to now. And that'll be when I run my next sale for my commission store that I have, so if you want discounted commissions to happen sooner, then, you know, there you go. That's an option. Because I figure that's a nice thing to do for hitting a milestone. I wasn't originally planning to announce it, but, you know, convenient timing and all, I figure I may as well. I'm almost dead. I should pay attention to that. Do not stand in the murder lasers. It's not good for you. Thankfully, there are single direction murder lasers. So you just gotta get behind them. For some reason, even though they're just a neck and head, they can't turn their head around. It's a little weird. Next set's coming. Yep. There you go. That's all this room was, by the way, was just those little fast guys come flying at you. Sometimes I wonder if they were just running out of ideas for what to put in some of these rooms, because of how many rooms they added. Oh, hi, Paranoia. Oh, right, it really is just all of the missing bosses that were left over from the other game. Right. This guy's ordinarily somewhat of a hidden fight in Dawn of Sorrow. You actually have to fulfill specific conditions to see him, which is part of getting to a better ending. So I believe if you kill the one attached to him, things don't quite go the way you want them to. Maybe slightly off on that detail, but there is a specific thing you need to do this part of that fight. You can just defeat his host as well. Wait, Are you paranoid or are you just a flame demon? I don't remember now that I said that out loud. You're not in my list yet. Well, we'll figure it out after you're dead. Don't worry, I'll name you properly when you're dead, buddy. It'll be okay. And yes, it'll be when, because I'm not going to mess up enough to die here. I would certainly hope not, anyway. He says he lands in the flames, but, you know, don't worry about that part. I'm just a little cooked, just like I am in the current temperature. Which, if any of y'all are in that heat wave, do make sure to be careful. Keep hydrated. Stay out of the hottest places as best you can. All that. I think I have a weapon that'll hit this guy harder, but I don't really want to juggle right now. Eventually he'll die. There he goes. Every time, whenever I question it, is right when the fight ends. Without fail, that just somehow happens. Anyway, off we go. Because these guys don't drop orbs, unlike the main bosses of the areas. Sounds good there, Winter. You have a good night. And much appreciated. Oh, right. There's multiple of you in here. This is where this could be a problem. Now is when I have to actually use a different sub-weapon, then. I need something with enough reach to fight from a distance here, because getting in close is just going to lead to disaster. Actually, you know what? It might be better to switch to Charlotte, then. You don't really have the best spells still, but... Ow. Her defense is also not as good, which is the trade-off. But as you can see, that's a potent spell as long as you can get it to cast. But her whole thing is, her spells take cast time. I am so close every time to the second charge. I really should stop reaching for the second charge, probably. For those wondering, I can't move while charging a spell. I can't just jump out of the way or anything and keep the charge going. That's why this is a problem. But with the amount of range spam they have, it's really hard to cast those. So I'm pretty sure I need to have him on screen in order to be able to do the damage, too. Damage-wise, though, it's proving to be pretty worth it. With 50 per tick from the full charge. I'm just running out of magic rapidly. Okay, I think I have one more shot of it left. At best, make it count. One's dead. Okay, back to Jonathan then. He can handle the other one. Oh, never mind. I just got pushed out of the room. I didn't even realize that door was open. Otherwise, I would have just left to begin with instead of fighting in double little Frankenstein's monsters. That also means I could just do... No, nope, this one's closed. Okay. I guess that's reasonable. This could be really bad. Case in point, I'm almost dead again. Because those cave trolls hit really hard. So being penned in by a pile like that very easily could have led to me being dead before I had a chance to react. Ow, speaking of. Ow, 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 ow. This is why the Nest of Evil's bad times. Is the situations like this that can get really rapidly out of hand. Can I get past you? I can. Is this door open? Nope, sure ain't. Okay. I still have beehives left to heal with. Okay, golem's down, armor's down. Okay. They were only a couple hits away, but if I'd stayed there, I was gonna get cornered and crushed. So it would not have ended well. Thing is, I have to get back across to get to a warp room. So this is a gamble. We'll see what's in here, and we might run away if it comes to it. Because I do have a magic ticket to warp away with that I'm pretty sure works. I think a ranged attack like the cross will do great here. She doesn't want to close the distance, so I can just pelt her with those and move on with my day. There we go. You are a bit of an issue, though. Case in point, the amount of damage I just immediately took there. And that's what I was afraid of. Magic ticket doesn't work here. It might have before I'd gone in the boss door, but I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have. So we just lost a bunch of progress in the Nest of Evil again because I didn't turn around like I should have. Considering that was a save from before I even went back. So that's a yikes. And that, folks, is why you make sure to save in between floors of the Nest of Evil. Don't be like me and foolishly think you're good at this and get yourself killed. Tell you what, while I have a good amount of stuff, how about we try the true vampire killer fight? Even though we already have the true vampire killer, this will be a check, so it's worth trying. Hi, Richter. Ow. Yeah, you still hit way harder with that than I do, huh? That makes sense. Holy weapons aren't going to be good against him. Royal Sword involves getting real close. Alucard Spirit is, then. Sub-weapons aren't very effective against Richter. And you can't use Charlotte for this fight. And I've already screwed up royally here. Repeatedly, too. I'm just making a real hash of this attempt. The biggest thing is making sure to try to stay out of whip range. As much as you can. Encourage him to use his sub-weapons instead of whipping you to death. Because it's the whip and the cross that are the most dangerous things he has. But as you can see with how fast that whip comes out, it's kind of hard to do anything about that. A lot of it's keeping him positioned in a way where he won't just do that. Also, I did that for demonstration for those that are like, why don't you just stay ducked in front of him? He just whips the shit out of you when you're kneeling in front of him instead, and it doesn't really work out. The downside to that is I lose the items I used for that. And apparently I didn't restock before that save either. So that was a good time to realize that. Because, you know, I make great decisions about when I save sometimes. go fix that restock problem.
I'll make you a deal.
So we're not getting far without supplies. I don't know why I wouldn't have saved after selling everything at the very least. Answer, because I was hurrying. Almost guaranteed that's why I didn't do that. When in doubt, if you're rushing through something, you're going to make a mistake. Oh yeah, Sage Ring gives MP regen back, right. It's not bad to have. Oh hey, ghosts for StarCraft. That should be useful.
That's not enough.
I don't care if it's enough. Give it to me anyway. If I don't stop Dracula, what are you gonna do? Throw money at him? I tell you, he's not gonna be impressed with that. Let's take another proper swing at the Nest of Evil, and then we'll probably wrap up. Like I said, we were only going to be going for like 2 hours today. I know that's not long in the grand scheme, and it's definitely nowhere near as long as I usually go, but considering the circumstances, this is the wiser course for me right now. So that I can make sure to solve that problem. Save in here this time, so I make sure that I can't lose all the shopping and such at the very least. At least when I invariably have this problem again. Yeah, notice we lost 2 full floors, I think? They all start to run together, if I'm honest. But now that I know I don't have to do the double monster fight, I can just scoot through. That should help a lot, actually. I assume I have to fight you. What would be really funny is if I actually needed to beat only one of the 2 monsters in that room, and that's why I was able to escape. Because that's going to lead to complications if that's true. I don't know what this guy's deal is, by the way. I don't remember him from anywhere else. He's just kind of here. Speaking of, let me get the whip back, because I'm much better with that angle. Evan's sword is, like I talked about before, also a very good option, because it's got some good reach to it. It just doesn't do nearly as much damage. The whip and the spear are similar speeds, but the whip hits a slightly different angle than the spear does, so it tends to work a little bit better in my experience. Again, for me specifically, everybody's setups and moves are going to be different for what'll work for them. As you can see, these guys are no threat because you just get behind them and they can't do anything. Smooth all that out nicely. I should have ducked when I swung. I know better, and yet I didn't do it. There we go. Thanks to the delay in the whip as well, you can kind of just pre-set it a little bit too. Right, I have to fight you again. That's the most annoying part about the mistake I made. Alright. Let's just do this the easy way this time, then. would help a lot if I'd stop running into him all the time, but you know. It wouldn't be me if I wasn't just running headlong into him today. Because what I should be doing is jumping up and throwing the cross away from me. Not off the map like I'm doing right now, though. Because remember, the crosses in all these games have infinite range going backwards. It's just one of those funny things that has remained true for some reason forever. And I assume they've realized what it's doing at some point. They just decided to keep it. I don't know why I thought I could duck that. We've already seen plenty of evidence that I cannot, in fact, do that. And yet I did it again anyway. Yes, yes, fly like a bird. Gonna fly away. Mind if you went away? My biggest problem with using the cross this way is I keep ending up catching the crosses by accident, trying to avoid him. There we go. That was technically faster than it was last time. Technically. Now, before we go around that corner, let's warp back and save so we don't lose that progress again. I'm not going to go all the way back and restock, because we do still have a decent amount of healing. And like I said, I'm only going to do the one more real attempt anyway, so... This being said one more real attempt. God, it feels weird to only stream for 2 hours. I'm so used to just, like, always streaming for, like, 4. But I want to make sure everything gets sorted out. Okay, yep, I do have to kill one of them. Okay. That's a bit of a bother. With them stacked on top of each other like that as well, technically it's better. Pain, misery, woe. That's the name of this show. I just need one of you to die. Shoot the foie gras. The tonic, so I have crosses. Okay, he's down. Open up, open up, open up, open up. Goodbye. Okay, one down. I have a cunning scheme. Is they're not moving? What if... What if I just apply the nuclear option from a distance? It's for the majority of them. Ow, is that tongue whip hurts so much. 200 damage just from that is brutal. Like, as you can see, it only takes 4 hits. They're not ridiculous, necessarily. They're just, like, really, really high damage. Okay. Honestly, we're probably still in trouble. Let's squeeze past this guy so we can focus on the armors. Except he just backs up and blocks the crosses anyway. Safe bet that this guy is here specifically to block somebody just crossing these knights to death. Since that would be very effective. That's my last full heal. Because the knights don't take that many hits. It's the big golem that's really the meat of that fight. And I'm pretty sure all these rooms reseal if I leave and come back. If I can even magical ticket out of a completed room. Let's test that. Yes, I can magical ticket out. Okay.
I'll make you a deal.
Now, the bigger question is, do I have enough money? Get rid of the jet black whip, honestly, we don't need it. We're never gonna use it. It makes my inner collector sad to sell the last of something like that, but we can find more. It's okay. It is not an emergency to lose that. If the rooms reseal when we go back, though, we're gonna have to come back with full supplies. Which will mean that that's the end of that attempt. Just means I didn't die doing it. It would essentially mean I would have to start fresh on it again anyway. Is the point. Like, it shows the map progress still, obviously, but it depends on whether the doors relock or not. If they do, it's over. If they don't, we might be in business. Oh, that door relocked behind me. Yep, they relock, so this is over. This is SOL. I'll give it a swing because I'm here, but I'm not gonna heal, which means I'm dead. If you're wondering if that was just me making sure that at the very least the Deathlink paid out, you'd be correct. Yeah, other than quickly popping over to tactics, which would end up being awkwardly cut, I do think I will end up focusing on doing tactics off-stream, like I had said before. Having Lancer now does give us some new legs with that, but we do have other matters in the real world to tend to today, so we will go ahead and trim this one early. I will find us a good place for us all to go. Go right fast. Well, ideally right fast, but we all know how I can be about that sometimes. So we shall see. Have I rated you in the last 30 days? I know you were away for a bit. Who's that ad? Stop that. I have rated you in the last 30 days. Okay. Let me look at my other options then. May still go there anyway, but I want to think about this first. I think I'm the last one for today in our usual set. Let's take a peek to make sure that Twitch isn't lying to me. See any immediately popping. Tell you what, it'll be between that one and... where'd that other one go? The second one that I was like, maybe. Let me have a look at what they're doing and then I go there. I have no idea what's happening there, so never mind. I'll figure that out later and then decide whether that's a good idea in the future or not. There's something just a little bit strange going on with that one. It's either that or we pull a surprise option. No. Well, we'll go to somebody who will at least understand what was happening. Even if they did not participate this time. We'll go see Evie. Who's doing some Elden Ring, even though she's still in the just chatting category. But, you know, at the very least, we go one dragon to another. So, I will be back tomorrow playing with Bug, Mel, and Mush. We're going to be playing a bunch of demos as well as a game called Flock Around. So that should be interesting. And then Saturday, I'm still planning to try to beat a singular game. I have not decided what said singular game is yet. There's also a chance that I may end up pivoting at the last minute because of things picked up in the Steam summer sale. Especially with the sub bomb that dropped today, I may very well expand out a little bit more than I had planned to. So I may pull a surprise out of my pocket for that one. We shall see. There's also something that hit 1.0 recently that I do want to cover, so got options there. But either way, timer's almost up. You'll be good to Evie, she's good people, and I will see you all tomorrow, hopefully. Good night, everybody. Sorry about the short stream.